Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with somebody else who might be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based business, please do us a favor and send them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
I'm glad you made it back from Mexico and you're not dead.
Yeah.
Although...
Well, I never got close to dying.
If you just go over the border, you're close to dying. you could die at any minute.
Dude, so...
What, did I spark something? I had a whole thing ready to go. No?
Oh, no.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Let me stop. Go ahead.
I'm helping one of my guys replace some cast iron today in the ceiling of a living room, right? So it takes two people, one to cut it, one to hold it, so it doesn't crash.
You got over your hissy fit from last night?
Hissy fit?
Yeah, you should have seen the look on your face when you realized that they had scheduled you for work today.
Oh.
On the Zoom call.
Oh.
That's not...
Yeah.
Dude, they scheduled me tomorrow.
I just was caught off guard, that's all.
Like, he had this blank stare on his face, like,
yeah,
people are about to get stabbed.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, it's just a little work.
I said it,
okay.
I left myself room in my schedule to come back from vacation and, catch back up at work, and no, they scheduled me on an all-day job. I don't run, for those that are listening to the show, I have a plumbing company. I don't run my own schedule. So some days I get to choose what I'm doing and other days I don't. So.
First off, if the boss ever leaves, but then you can schedule them and he knows he has to be there, you're getting fucking scheduled, dude, every time.
I'm scheduled every day this week. I got jobs on me every day this week.
There was that one day we were getting ready for a video, buying stuff, going to the grocery store, and it was maybe 10:30. It was the late morning, and he looks at the schedule.
Yeah, the one thing they know, they never can schedule first calls on me. They know that because I've got some things that I have to do for the business every morning, first calls. But Austin and I were running around prepping for a video.
And we were full video mode.
We're going to the shop and we're going to film a video, and it's 10:45 or something. And I look at my phone, and there's a message hey, your next call is waiting on you.
We're in the Hy-Vee parking lot.
I'm what next call? And I had 3 calls on me that day, and nobody ever even told me.
It was the Hy-Vee parking lot, I think.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy right now. You are Mr. Live and Die by my calendar.
Well,
and
no, so that's what sparked it.
For fucking three days at a time. Oh, wait, I forgot.
That's what
Sometimes
sparked it.
I got to go to work.
Yeah. That's problem is I got 2 calendars. I got my Google Calendar, and then we have our CRM calendar at work. And so they were putting stuff in one and not reflecting it in the other. So now it goes in both.
Okay.
So we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's part of living and dying by the calendar. No, so we went to Mexico, had fun. The resort was absolute shit. But it is what it is, right? You get what you pay for. We skimped on the resort so we could make sure to go do a lot of excursions every day, keep the boys happy and entertained and everything. And, everything was fine, right? Today, the job that I'm in today, I'm helping one of our guys replace some cast iron in the ceiling. The customer, happens to be a homicide detective for Kansas City Police Department. And we got to talking about me being on vacation and all of this stuff. And he was like, yeah, one of my buddies at work, one of the other detectives, he went down to Cancun and they searched his bag. The customs military guys searched his bag on the way in. And then he got in the cab to leave and realized $2,000 was missing out of his bag. He went back and he called the customs guy out and brought him into an office, almost caused an international problem over the thing, got his money back.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's lucky he isn't buried in the desert.
Yeah. And
for $2,000.
He was if it was a couple $100, maybe, but $2,000, it was worth me
for
bringing that up.
$1,000. I'm not saying anything.
I don't know.
For 10 in America,
that's a mortgage payment.
I shouldn't say that.
$2,000.
I should probably think about that before I open my stupid mouth. I'm not sure what I would do.
we'll get into it later if we have time, but I wrote up like 10 customer service things that I learned from our trip in Cancun. And all these were customer service based. And all these were 10 things where our resort completely fucking dropped the ball.
And one thing would have solved it all.
Communication and not lying was pretty much it.
One thing would have solved it all.
What's that?
Don't be a tight ass.
Oh, yeah.
Spend a little more money and go to a nice fucking resort like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
Something that I learned, I never got this when I was younger, like when I was like 15, 16. My general manager, she's like, no matter if you're helping that customer or not, if you're walking by, always greet him, because the customer doesn't know that, oh, my job is the fry guy, so you need to talk to the cashier guy. It's so apparent now, you go places and people will be like, well, I'm not the cashier, so they'll just like
Home
three
Depot.
people just walk by you. And
Freaking Depot.
The customer doesn't know that's not your job, so they just think you're ignoring them.
Right.
I'm thinking about like making a vest and wearing to Home Depot. Like, so the one by us.
Posing as an employee?
I know where everything is.
Yeah.
And thinking about just making a vest that says, hey, for $5, I'll tell you exactly where anything is if you want real help.
Is it professional
and just wearing it
shopping?
around and
have your
having
Venmo
Austin,
QR code on the back of the vest. Just scan it and send you money.
Yeah, have Austin follow me around and make a YouTube video. We'd make $1 billion.
See, that's
Like,
the
I
thing.
know where everything's at. Now, Austin could just videotape the whole thing. And
You'd
then,
have to come up with a cool name that's a play on words with Home Depot. Hey, if you like what you're hearing on The Void and you want even more info, we just started a mentorship program specifically for trades professionals to start their business or to get their business to an incredibly healthy position. So if you'd like more info, click on the link in the description of this show.
what would it be?
I don't know. It'd have to be like Lowe's Nose, but in the Home Depot font or something like that.
The orange and white, too.
Yeah.
That'd be great, dude.
What's your
That would
name,
be great.
Menard?
Yeah, don't worry about what are you looking for. I know exactly where it's at. I know where everything in that store is.
7/16 plywood? I got you. Let me.
Yeah, let's. Do you want me to help you load it too?
Yeah. If you
know
want,
what?
you can ask that guy, and he'll tell you it's not his department.
Yeah.
Or I can take you right there for $3. What do you want?
Yeah, dude, I bet you in one day I'd make $500.
Well, no, the thing is,
at least
you would go all the way through the install. Like, hey, you don't have to do this. I could just put it in for you.
Yeah, like I got my own crew outside, and they're like, "What do you need help with?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we just want to refinish the deck." Guys, we got a deck refinish right here.
Yeah.
You'd probably make $1 billion.
Some-
Tell you
the
what, go
world.
ahead and give me their address. And
Yeah.
that way, by the time you get home with the lumber, your deck will already be torn down.
Yeah,
And they're ready.
those mothers will be on it.
Someone has
They
had to
will
have done
be
that
on
somewhere
it.
in the world. Like, there has to have been some people
I don't
like
know. You might be onto something.
they start Home Depot and
know-
they get a feel for it.
I always have a lot of good ideas, and then I just don't follow through.
Time to follow through.
I can't. I don't have enough time to do them all.
Yeah.
You know, I only have a little bit of time. Do you know what this week is?
It's the first week for football.
The fuck it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for all
Thursday,
the-
home opener for the Kansas City
So
Chiefs.
like I did a little. You know, my problem is sometimes I'll do the Monday motivational for trade wins, right? And sometimes I'll retake it a few times, so I don't remember exactly what I talk about. But I'm pretty sure that what I said was, "Hey," at the beginning. I mean, you know, football starts this week. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. You know, I know everyone's excited, but, you know, cool your jets because the Chiefs are going to kick the shit out of all of you. Like, that's basically what I said. So for everyone that's, you know, excited about your season, good luck.
yeah.
Good luck.
Did you hear Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee today?
Dude, he'll take 4 Vicodin and drink a 12-pack. He'll be fine.
Or he'll be out. The last time he was out,
They dominated.
we went like,
They dominated.
yeah, he had like a 85% completion rate, like 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and we smoked him by over 20 points. So,
You just listed off Patrick Mahomes' stats.
yeah,
Okay,
because Patrick
without
doesn't
Kelce
need,
in.
without
okay,
Kelce.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
I was a little confused for a second. I was like,
Yep.
you know, Travis doesn't throw the ball, right?
He should.
He probably could. I don't know.
All right.
What do you want to talk about?
We got 2 topics today, and then if we have time, because sometimes we like to run long, if we have time, I'll
we've
go
been
over my
running-
10 customer service things.
We've been running long
I know.
every week for like a month.
So topic 1 has to do with taking responsibility for your actions and understanding that you are responsible for every single thing that happens in your life. Topic 2 is about going where you are valued. So,
Go ahead. I don't even know what we're going to talk about here.
So, Topic 1, taking responsibility. Obviously, everyone knows that, I got to take responsibility. I got to do, the kids.
Adult.
Yeah, adulting, right? Hashtag adulting.
Dude, every time one of them kids says that, I want to smack them in the face.
Right. It's like, dude, my 14-year-old's more an adult than you are.
I know, it's so sad. It's so sad.
I mean, part of me says it's sad. The other part of me says, as a business person, I'm going to kick the shit out of you in business because you just don't take responsibility, and it makes it easy to win, right?
You know what? I will say it is a lot easier to win right now if you're in a trade.
Yeah.
Than it has been.
If you're in a trade and you have ethics and discipline.
Trade lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't even have to be great. You just have to be adequate.
Yeah.
Right now, and you can make a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So where this stems from, or what brought this to become a topic on the show, is I made a Facebook post. It was I think it was yesterday, about relationships and about how old school basically it was essentially shortcutting to why the divorce rate's increasing like crazy lately, right?
I'm not gonna bust you up. It's because there's no morality. But go ahead.
Right. There's no morality, and social media plays a big effect in that, right? But that's not to say social media is to blame. What it means is we use social media as a coping mechanism, and when things are getting tough at home with the person who sees us exactly who we are every day, day in and day out, you got your real life and you got your social media life, right? And I do my absolute best to try to keep those as synonymous with each other as possible, right?
I will agree with that statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
And so, if anything, I don't share some of the struggles on social media simply because I don't want to air dirty laundry, right? That doesn't mean my social media is a highlight reel, because I definitely share plenty of struggles, but sometimes it's kind of hard to share struggles without sounding like you're just airing dirty laundry and griping. And there's already too much of that on social media, right? So basically it was, our parents and our grandparents, they stay married. It was easier for them to stay married because they didn't have the distraction of social media.
Sorry, I just had a weird thought. I was just thinking, well, yeah, it's because you had to walk 2 miles to get a side piece.
That's true, right?
I'm sorry. It just popped into my head. I'm very sorry. But you're right. You're
they say
100%
absence
right.
makes the heart grow fonder, but so does uphill both ways in the snow.
Yeah, no shit. Babe, it's December. She's ringing you on the old phone. They gave you
the party line.
I am not walking over there. Yeah. No thanks. Yeah. It's not happening.
So ultimately, social media enhances our ability to play into our demons, right? To play into our faults and our weaknesses.
Yeah, it's easy for you to be envious, and then for that to take over in your world.
Well, right, and you couldn't send nudes and have them disappear off Snapchat, 30 years ago, right?
Is that a thing?
Oh yeah.
I don't have Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I've realized?
I have Snapchat, and my Snap score is 4, and that's because I have 2 people.
I don't know what that means, but the look on your face made me laugh.
No. Having a high Snap score is kind of something to brag about.
What's a high Snap score?
Like in the millions.
Oh, yours is 4.
Austin, do you have Snap? You don't?
No,
okay.
He's a smart kid.
Yeah. Well, Austin's of the age of somebody that might, so I didn't know. But
it's so weird. So like in the plumbing and heating and cooling industry, even at 41, I walk in and I'm like the young guy, right?
Right.
And then what I've realized is doing this podcast with you and meeting the TradeWinds guys and doing all that, I'm like the old geezer that doesn't have anything, man. And I'm like, I feel like I have 2 lives.
Yeah.
Like my in-field life where I'm young, and then the TradeWinds podcast life where I'm an old fucking shady geezer. It's
your baby Yoda and old Yoda.
Dude, at the same time, it blows my mind.
Yeah. So Snapchat is basically you communicate back and forth through pictures, and you can add captions to the pictures, but the pictures disappear after a while. Once you view it, the picture's gone.
So on this is gonna make me sound completely stupid. So on Snapchat, do you send it to an individual person or everyone? Okay.
No, there's no groups. There's no public forums. It's individuals.
So you can send super dirty 30-second clips.
I don't know if you can do videos, but I know you can do pictures.
Videos. Yeah.
Okay.
I said super dirty videos, and she's like, yeah.
Yeah. So you can send those pictures and they disappear, right?
Okay.
So there's relative security.
I didn't know.
That like, hey, I'm sending dirty pictures to somebody that I shouldn't.
Okay.
And as soon as they view it, it's gone. And so now nobody knows.
Yeah, so it's super easy for you to be a complete... what's the right word?
Well, that's the whole like
creeper.
When it came out,
it's easy for you to be a creeper, and then
It's easier for you to be dishonest and unethical. Is what it is.
when it
That's
came
true.
out,
Okay.
like I saw it, and it's like when you see something like that, like the whole point of it's like, what's the only reason you'd want to send a picture and it be deleted? So just like that's
Right.
yeah,
why
because you don't want it to be out in the open.
That's
right?
why
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I'm like
Okay, totally. Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah, sorry guys,
Yeah.
I interrupted the whole.
you're fine. I'm
So,
learning right now. Apparently, I need Snapchat.
Well, Snapchat's really, really popular amongst like middle-aged kids, like middle school kids and high school kids and all that stuff. Now,
Okay, gotcha.
they're not using it yet. They're not yet using it at the dirty level,
So
right?
are you
It's
thinking
just the
like,
way they communicate.
Are you thinking like kids from like 38? I don't mean to get you off topic. From like 38 to 25, like that's their window.
That's the guys that are using it for the dirty level.
Okay,
Right.
guys and gals. Let's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
discriminate
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
yeah.
show.
Yeah, but like both my sons have it, and they
Why?
For them it's just like I get to see all their shit.
Okay,
And for them, that's
Gotcha.
just how kids communicate these days.
gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So now, once they hit puberty and they start having all those urges, I'm sure it's going to go to the dirty side, right? However,
Good luck.
yeah, having a high snap score is really cool. So you'll see girls make these posts on, the red flag posts are kind of popular. You see girls make these posts that are like, a guy with a high snap score is a red flag. And it's like, my snap score is 4. And there's like people literally snap scores in the millions. They've sent and received that many. Millions.
Or the memes like he won't
very
message you back,
interesting.
but then his snap score goes up.
Yeah.
So
Things
you know
like
that he's been like messaging
Okay.
other people.
messaging
Okay.
other people, right? So
God, I feel so old right
funny.
now.
What was it? There was a funny. I'm trying to think of the holiday. There was a holiday. I saw a meme the other day that was a holiday, Merry Christmas or something like that, and this guy thought he was individually messaging it was Valentine's Day. Thought he was individually messaging all of his girls.
All of his girls?
All of his
man.
ladies. And he did it in a group text
Ooh.
instead of individual. And so it was like, Happy Valentine's Day, babe. And there's like 14 women on the text. And the meme was a screenshot of it, of all the women going, who the fuck are all these women? Like, that guy's
Gotta start over,
gotta
dude.
start. Yes, exactly.
Shit.
Well, that's
Delete.
the whole thing. The guys, I don't know why I'm not where I want to be in life.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I'm taking responsibility.
First off, he may have been exactly where he wanted to be in
Maybe.
life.
You never know.
Austin, you never know, bro.
You never
He may have
know.
been exactly where he
That's
wanted
not
to
for us
be.
to decide.
I have no judgment.
Okay, so
Back on, Mitch.
Back on topic.
Try to stay on topic.
So I made this post about how it was easier for not easier, it was one of the reasons why our parents and grandparents stayed together was because they didn't have thousands of people following them on social media. And they didn't have people liking their photos and reacting to their photos and commenting on their photos and all of that stuff. And social media has this weird thing where we compare, like we develop our feeling of worth to the number of reactions and comments that we get. And I'm just as guilty as any.
A lot, dude. I didn't realize this was a complete thing, but a lot of people. You're like that.
Yeah, no, I am. I totally
Yeah,
am.
you
right?
are. And
Now,
like
I
I
don't-
never realized that it can literally affect how people are based on that. And
Yeah. Now, for me, it doesn't affect my personal being. For me, like I'm big into understanding the
matrix.
the
Yeah.
logistics of how social
Yeah.
media works, right?
Yeah.
So when I gauge the effectiveness of a post, I talk about numbers of reactions and
Yeah.
comments and things like that. It's not because it makes me feel good.
No.
It's more like how that post performed on the algorithm.
Yeah, but
right.
well, and what I meant by that was I never even realized how much people pay attention to those things, regardless of how it affects them.
Right.
Like I would have never thought that you looked at all of those things to like say, okay, so this is what's going on and this is what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Like I never even would have thought in a million years you would have been diving into it that far.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I never do.
Well,
Like,
shit, I mean,
and I don't care. But then I see people that are literally, like, you'll see them put on there, well, I only got 2 likes.
Yeah.
Or this happened, and it legitimately affects their self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you realize? It's kind of a mind fuck because I don't realize how fragile people's personalities are, I guess.
Right.
Like, how do you literally let that affect who you are?
Yeah.
It's not real.
Right.
Like,
right.
I didn't understand that people, like, instead of having a real life, their real life is Facebook.
Yeah.
And is likes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you realize that's not real, right?
Right.
Like, you can't, all of those posts that you're following is their A+ life. They're not showing you all the F's
Right.
and the D's and the C's and the regular. They're only showing you the great things. That's not reality. That's not what's actually going on.
Right.
And I always thought that that's just how people viewed it. And then, I don't know, over the last couple of years, which I was late to the party, obviously, I realized people thought that that's how they were being judged by that.
Right. Right.
That's not what... Kanye West is not always getting a beach on a boat somewhere. What is happening?
Right.
That is not reality.
Right. Well, I even said it in here. Our followers liking our pictures and commenting on our posts give us a rush of endorphins similar to the feelings that we get when we're intimate with our significant other. Right? It's the
Like,
feeling of being wanted by other people.
I never would have thought in a million years that people would actually get that type of reaction from social media.
Right.
It's insane to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, when you go to the bar and a girl smiles at you, look, even if you're married, you go to a bar and a girl smiles at you, even though you're not interested, you're just whatever, you're like, oh, that makes me feel good. When a girl likes my post on Facebook, I don't give 2 shits.
Right.
I don't even look at it. Who cares?
It's like Deion Sanders in the post-game interview after Colorado fucking whipped up on him, right?
Dude,
Deion, one of
do
the
you want to
interviewers...
talk about Colorado? We can talk about Colorado.
No, that's coming up. But, one of the interviewers asked what are people going to think? I can't remember the whole question. And Deion flat shut him down, and he was like, what makes you think I care what you think of me?
Yeah.
I don't care what you think of me.
What do we talk about as being a business owner, the most important thing is in being successful in life? Do not care what anyone else thinks.
Right.
If you care what anyone else thinks and you cow down and try to, like, make these people like you, you will never be successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to give no F's about what they say or what they do.
Yeah, I went on in this post to say a big temptation happens today when our relationship hits the rocks. We just log in and get high on this false sense of security, relationship, and appreciation. We unfortunately allow the number of likes and comments to determine our worth. We also get DMs filled with colorful words that seem caring but have no depth. Meanwhile, we seem to forget the person who's loved us when there was no filter on our face and no spell check on our words. Don't let your significant other become an option while the rest of the world, who only sees the representation you choose for them to see, becomes the priority. Don't lose what's real chasing what appears to be, okay? And there was some dude, the post has been shared a couple of times, so it's getting people that I don't even know seeing it, okay? Some dude jumped on there this morning.
Are we going back to haters? Are we going to haters on haters?
No.
Okay.
This is where taking responsibility comes in.
Okay.
This guy gets on there and he talked about the Fair Credit Act of 1974 is why divorce rates have increased. And
what the is the Fair Credit Act of 1974?
So basically
I don't want to.
Essentially, what it meant was banks cannot discriminate off race, creed, religion, color, ethnicity, sex, anything like that.
Okay, so it was when they really started the credit score thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy has come up with this whole idea that prior to 1974, it was illegal for women to have a bank account, and it was illegal for women to get a mortgage. And so because of that, that's why women didn't get divorced, was because if they did, they wouldn't be able to have a bank account and they wouldn't be able to buy a house. And
Psychopath 101.
Right. And
that's like we talk about all the time, like I hate social media and it's hard for me to be on there because of shit like that.
No, like
I don't have
I look
time.
at it like it's eye
I don't
opening.
have time to fuck with that guy.
Well, for me, like my big goal is to have a big impact on people, and the only way to do that is understand people in the masses, right?
That's true.
And so
Mine is to have a Ferrari. Go ahead.
yeah, there are people like that who seriously are blaming the Fair Credit Act of 1974 as to why divorce rates have skyrocketed, right? And it's like, dude, take some fucking responsibility. For one, you're wrong on your facts. The Fair Credit Act meant that they basically had to be equal and fair with how they were distributing money.
Yeah.
But money still drives the bus at a bank. It was never illegal for a woman to have a bank account. It was never illegal for a woman to have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And
that guy was probably like 90. And like his
who knows?
Son gave him a phone and he was like, let me tell you what
from his
fucking
profile
happened.
picture, he looked like total, like complete extreme liberal, right? The rainbow colored hair and all that stuff.
Really? Because I would think that post would have come from a super conservative nut job.
No.
Interesting.
No, it's the whole against the institutions and
I know. That's what makes it weird.
Yeah.
Because it's back and forth all the time.
All the time, right? And so ultimately, basically, this guy's like a beta male is what it is, right? A guy that's using every excuse under the sun on why he shouldn't stand up and actually be a man, right?
Yeah.
And so...
his name's probably Lucy.
Well...
Like his new name.
So after like 2 comments back and forth, he was like, well, technically you are correct. It was never illegal. Like his first comment was, it was illegal for a woman to have a job, or have a bank account, and illegal for them to have a mortgage. 2 comments later, technically you're not wrong. It was never illegal. However, it was very difficult for them to do. And I'm like, that's the benefit of the free market. If one bank says no, you go down the street to the next bank.
Yeah.
Like... It's that simple, right? And banks like money.
It's called capitalism.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get on the train, jackass.
I'm like, banks like money. And if you are a woman and you have the proven track record of repaying loans, and you have the income that shows that you might be able to afford a mortgage, they're not going to turn their nose up at money.
No, they say, hey, get on the train.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
do you want to pay me interest so that I can make money?
So
sign me up.
So then he circles all the way back around to, well, you can't tell me that didn't have an impact on it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, it's no different than like today you could blame the high cost of rent on why women don't get divorced is because they can't afford rent anywhere. Like, take some fucking responsibility.
Yeah.
They chose to stay together. And the purpose of this post was about taking responsibility and choosing to stay together through all of the distractions. Because they had distractions back then. They just weren't social media, right? They were magazines. They were everything else.
Yeah, but not as bad as it
They
is
were
now.
newspaper articles.
Yeah.
They were, in-person functions because now we do so much online. Like, they had distractions back then. Women were whores back then, just like they were now. Guys were... gigolos or whatever you want to call a
Did you
whore
say
guy.
gigolo on the show? Is that the first gigolo drop in a year and a half? Hello, ring a bell.
What
We got
do
a
you call
gigolo
a
drop.
whore guy? I don't know.
Player.
Okay. Guys were players back then just like they are now, right? So
no, they were jackasses, but they just didn't get caught as easy because of social media.
Maybe. But,
we are completely off topic.
But ultimately, they took responsibility. And now we have so much more distractions at our disposal that now your responsibility is in question every single day now.
Yeah.
Because the temptations are there a lot more prevalently now than they were before.
Oh, dude,
people are still people.
People are still people, but you're 100% right. Like if I were to go on Facebook and just literally post, this is completely fake. If I was to post, hey, I'm getting divorced, just wanted to see who all was out there and wanted to get a drink, there'd be 75 people.
Totally.
Be like, hey, hey, this, that, because they're following you.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you to fail.
Yeah.
They are watching you.
Yep.
It's literally 24/7, 365. This is the same thing that is like, I lost my train of thought. This is the exact same thing that's like, people are afraid to fail because they know people are watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're afraid to go out on their own, or they're afraid to like say, hey, look what I did, because they're literally afraid that people are going to crush them. That's why they live in their mom's basement for 30 years.
Yeah. Dude, I used to work with a guy. This was before I had a Facebook. This was probably a year before I got on Facebook.
02?
I don't know. I don't know when this
05?
was.
I'm trying to think.
I've been on Facebook for like 13 years. So this would have been prior to 2010.
So 2010, yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that was scrolling through Facebook on a computer.
Do I know this person?
I don't know. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, oh, it's Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm about that yet, right? And this was before Facebook was even what it is now.
Yeah.
This was back when you still had to have a school, you had to have a school email address to get on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was out.
And yeah. And so he was like, dude, it's a great place to check out hot chicks. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, look, this girl's attractive. Attractive girls have attractive friends. So he clicks on her profile, and then he starts scrolling through all of her friends.
All her photos.
And he's sending friend requests to all of her hot friends.
And look, when you're single,
no. He was single, like he wasn't doing anything unethical, but like that was the first exposure to like, holy shit, like prior to this moment,
2010.
if I wanted to see hot girls, I had to like get in my car and drive to a bar.
I'm trying to think when you got married.
It would have been 07.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah.
No judgment.
No, this would have been like 05.
I got married
maybe.
in 04. So
yeah, this would have been like 05 or 06 maybe.
are you at Dell's at this time?
Yes. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
So I'm not gonna name names. But
Dave was sitting there. He's trying to set him up.
Oh no, he's putting the clues together.
I was putting them together.
Yeah.
When would you get Facebook? Was that before you were married?
So
Case files of David.
yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
Busted.
it's like the old Law and Order SVU. We found semen under the oven.
Only if you were in Mitch's first house. But yes.
It was everywhere.
The Mitch is like, depends on what your definition of is.
Give me a saxophone and a cigar, please.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So,
Oh shit, man.
like that, that was my first like eye-opening experience to like how easy it is to get exposure to tons of people on social media,
Yeah.
right? And now it's like commonplace, right? You just don't even think of it. But prior to that day, like if I wanted to see good-looking girls, I had to drive to the bar and hope they're there. And then if I wanted to talk to one, I had to like walk up to them and talk to them.
Or say, hey Dave, what do you think about that girl over there?
Yeah.
Do you want to go over there and talk to her for me?
I never did that shit.
No, he didn't.
I would talk to anybody.
Mitch was the king of getting shot down. He gave no fucks.
Nope.
He would literally attack 12 girls in a night. I shouldn't say attack. He would talk to 12 girls in a night, get shot down by all of them, and be like, well, guys want to go to another bar or what?
Not my night.
I guess we're going somewhere else.
For me, it was just to get a yes, you got to chew through enough nose.
Dude, Mitch was the numbers
Law of
man.
averages.
He was a numbers man.
Law of averages,
He
again.
would literally, he'd have 2 beers and be like, all right, I'm going to start over here on the left, and I'm going to work to the right, and we're going to see what happens.
Not afraid to get no.
No, he was unafraid.
So ultimately, this dude was, I mean, he was reaching. It's not to him. It wasn't just as simple as choosing to stay with the person you made the commitment with. To him, it was search for everything under the sun as to why it doesn't work today,
Or to why scape out.
and to go back 50 years to 1974. That's why divorce happens today. That's why it didn't happen back. If it weren't for that, if that would have been passed in the 50s, divorce would have increased in the 50s.
Yeah.
No.
I hate people that will try to pin everything on one event or one thing.
Well, and if
You know what I mean?
Well, as soon as you disprove them on the one thing,
Yeah, then they try to escape out of it.
then they try to escape out of it and everything else.
Yeah, and go to something else, and then try to go to this, and then they try to circle back to this. And
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, it's about, personal responsibility. I don't know is the right saying for that. It's more like you have to be accepting of the actual circumstances and look at everything and realize this is what's happening.
Well,
I mean, part of it is personal responsibility because you have to personally take the responsibility to understand and realize what's going on.
right.
right?
Right. So today in America, modern day America,
Oh, that's scary.
you have access. There are no limitations in today's America. Zero, none, zip,
No.
zilch, nada. Right?
No. Well,
You've got,
government red tape, but other than that, go ahead.
but we all have the same red tape,
Yes.
right?
It's an equal playing ground.
It's an equal playing ground, right? You've got kids that are growing up in the projects that have the worst influence ever from their parents. Okay? However, they still have a phone. They still have access to the internet. They still have access to all the exact same information that you and I do, right? For the same reason that a two-time felon can go on to be a multi-millionaire, meanwhile, the guy who grew up in middle America is
Does
fighting his way to his
nothing.
first million, right?
Yeah.
It's because people are using their experiences and taking responsibility for those experiences to learn the lessons from them to better their life. Meanwhile, you've got everybody else in America that's just taking the comfortable road, taking the road that everyone travels, the road with less risk, the road with less reward, and they're blaming everything about where they're at on their boss, my landlord jacked up rent, my car broke down. I got literally today, I saw one of my friends on Facebook. I got in a bad car accident this morning. The other driver fled. I've only got liability insurance. I'm really hoping the cops find them, right? And so they're going to blame the loss of their car on that other person. No, the blame is on the fact that you did not have full coverage insurance. If you had full coverage insurance, I don't even care if they find the driver. I'm good.
First off, I will never drive a car without full coverage.
Right.
Ever. I have a 12-year-old truck that it ain't worth, but I always drive with full coverage. Everything we have has full coverage. If a person, so the lowest general liability, I don't remember what the number is now, but it's like $10,000 or $12,000. So if someone with the lowest level of general liability hits you,
Yeah.
and smashes your $100,000 piece of shit Tesla, and it sets on fire, and the fire department has to come out and hold a hose on it for 4 hours to get the stupid battery to go out, and you're out $100,000, that company's writing you a check for $12,000, and that's
Right.
it.
Right.
Whatever the minimum is. And if you don't have full coverage, you're on the hook for the fucking rest.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Totally.
And you know, this is a whole thing of, oh, well, the rule should be this or the rule should be that. Well, the rules are set for everyone the same. Your job is to navigate the rules and do what's best to protect your family and your life and to do the right thing.
Right.
That's personal responsibility.
Yeah.
So for Janine and I, personal responsibility is have full coverage because you never know what kind of jackass losers out there rolling around with General.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know.
Yeah.
You have no fucking clue.
Right.
And I don't want to have to write a check. And people are like, well, you know, you could write the check. Yeah, I could. But I don't want to get rid of my money.
Right.
That's my fucking money.
Exactly.
And I worked construction for 22 years, and you know how hard it was for me to get that fucking money?
Right.
I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to write an extra $20 a month
Yep.
than have to write a $15,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 check later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I've had, so when I was flipping cars, you know, those cars were I was buying them for $1,000 to $2,000. I was selling them for $3,000. I was doing liability on those.
We should have been turning them into fucking dune buggies is what we should have been doing.
I was buying liability on those because I was only having them for 2 or 3 weeks. I would drive them to work and back once. Like I was putting less than 100 miles on them when I would sell them.
To make sure they were good.
Just to make sure they would drive, right?
Yeah.
When I had the Danger Ranger, the 98, or no, it was an 01 Ranger or whatever that I had when I started our plumbing company. I had liability on that because I only paid $400 for it.
Yeah, and if it crashes, who cares?
Well, so even though I had liability, I still put medical coverage on it. So in other words, if I get hit by somebody and my kids are in the car and they have injuries, like all of that was covered, the truck wasn't. And the only reason I didn't on the truck was because like literally 2 months of insurance payments and I paid off the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a $400 truck, right?
Yeah.
So it just didn't. I think it was $499. I think I paid $500 for that truck.
Woo!
So yeah, 2
High
months
dollars,
of
baby.
2 months of full coverage, and that was the cost of the truck. So it just didn't make sense on that. But I still had medical coverage. The subject has come up a couple of times in some of my circles about business insurance. with plumbing companies. And you got these guys griping that, oh, my rates, went up on my business insurance and I'm shopping them around. And I'm like, guys, before you even shop them around, look at your policy. Like how many dollars in tools do you have on your truck? I don't know, 15,000.
Didn't we just talk about this trade wins last night?
We did.
Yeah, with Trent.
Yeah, and
I like Trent. He's a good dude, man.
The subject has come up of like, your insurance policy probably only covers $5,000 in tools. So before you start shopping around, make sure you're comparing apples to apples and get a policy that represents your business. And shop that policy around.
Yeah.
Don't just shop the state minimums to state minimums.
Yeah.
Because those are the same dudes that when they get a truck stolen, 4 days later, they're posting on social media bitching that the insurance company only wants to pay for a third of their tools. They don't want to pay for any of the shelving and all of this shit. And it's like, dude, you should have read the policy just like everybody else.
This is the fucking problem. I shouldn't say this is the problem, but this is the point to personal responsibility. So, like when you're a young guy and you're just shopping policies, right?
Yep.
You don't read that policy. You don't know. The insurance company
When you're young in business, you're right. You don't.
I'm not talking about young in business. I'm talking young in general.
Yeah.
None of us are reading that policy and none of us know what we're covered about.
Right.
First off, shame on us. Okay?
Yep.
Second off, shame on those people for fucking our eyeballs out. Because that's literally what they're doing is they're using the rules to navigate around paying you money so that they can make more money.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But that's what we're talking about. You have to do the same thing to them or to whoever so that you can make money.
Yep.
Okay, it is your responsibility to read those policies and know exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
And when they send you that packet that's 57 pages fucking long and you just throw it in the filing cabinet, that's on you, dude.
Yeah.
You have got to read that and you have got to know where everything's at and what's being paid for so that you know where you stand.
Yep.
That is personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't, it's 100% fucking on you.
Yep.
You know what's crazy? Like, I didn't even realize, this is so dumb. I didn't even realize this till my truck got stolen. Like, I think that's been 4 or 5 years ago now. I didn't read the policies. I didn't know what was what. Like, I just, again, shame on me. I trusted my agent to have my best interest at heart. That guy didn't give two shits. Well, none of them did.
Here's the problem, though.
And you have to be looking at that stuff.
And it's not that your agent was bad, right? It's that your truck had a toolbox with thousands of dollars in tools in it. Meanwhile, the other truck that's just like yours that they also insured, but it was a base model and it had no tools in it.
Yeah.
And most trucks don't have tools in them. I mean, if you look at the general masses,
well,
you know what I mean?
You're right.
And so that's like the insurance company is filing state minimums and everything else to give you comparables and all of that stuff. But like as a business owner, and especially for the listeners of this show that are starting businesses and running businesses, I'll just tell you right now, our policy only covered $5,000 in tools and $5,000 in material. I carry $14,000 in material on my truck, and we have about $15,000 to $25,000 in tools on the truck at any given time. So we actually scheduled, you can get an equipment schedule for your insurance. So we scheduled every tool that was valued at over $1,000. So every sewer machine, every sewer camera, every drill, every ProPress machine, everything that was over $1,000, we scheduled that. Now, our premiums go up. However, if one of my trucks gets stolen, they're writing me a check for $97,000. They're not writing me a check for some $40,000 and only $2,000 for material and tools and whatever low base rates that they initially try to quote you, right? So I know I'm fully covered because I took the responsibility to make sure that my policy suits my business.
I will respond to that with this. It is their fault as the agent. This is, and let me finish.
They should upsell you.
I'm not saying upsell. This is the same thing as tax law in this fucking country.
Yeah.
There is no way that I can know everything.
Right.
Okay? I don't have a tax law degree.
Right.
I do not know the ins and outs of all insurance buyouts. I don't know how all that works. I trust them to sell me the right thing for my application.
Right.
I am paying for business insurance with the same motherfucker that's selling me truck insurance.
Yeah.
That knows I'm using that truck for work.
For business.
Okay?
Yeah.
So don't give me the bullshit of, well, that's because I don't know. And there's no possible way for me to know until I have learned it the hard way.
Right.
Just like tax law.
Yep.
I can't go to Columbia for 4 years and then 2 more years to have a tax law degree and then still not know 100% about fucking tax law.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
So, but
good
as
insurance
far as-
agents would recognize that, have some prompting questions, and then basically develop some options to upsell you on better plans.
Yes,
Like,
and
here's
I
a
will
state
say-
minimum comparable plan, but then here's some plans that are going to better cover you for what you
Well,
what
and
you
they
have.
should be asking you.
Yeah,
hey,
they should.
Look, you're paying truck insurance and you're paying HVAC tech insurance over here. Are you using that?
Yeah.
Of course I am, you idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's your tool total?
Yeah.
What do we do if something gets stolen? And listen, everyone that listens to this show knows that Mitch's dad is now my insurance agent. He was not at the time.
Right.
So I'm just let me preface that. But the guy that was before was fucking my eyeballs out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it. Now, should I have gone and read all of that stuff? Of course I should have.
Yeah.
But there is still it fucking irritates me, man.
Yeah.
Because like as a person of integrity, when I go to someone's house and I am trying to sell them a system or I'm trying to navigate their trouble, I don't give them the cheapest cop out. This is I give them the truth.
Yeah.
And insurance salesmen, real estate agents, I shouldn't say fuck all of you, but most of you, yeah, because you're just trying to make sales. And when I see salesmen that are just trying to make sales, like when I hear a salesman say, "Hey, you don't want me to come to your house because I'm selling you something," that pisses me off.
Dude, it's the same thing.
I hate that shit.
It's the same thing that's part of our sales process. We offer every customer 3 options. The first option, the bottom option, is the bare minimum repair to fix why they called us that day. That's it, right?
Yeah.
The next options, we offer 2 options above that. Both of those options are using our professionalism and our experience and what we've now learned about the customer to give them some options that they might enjoy a little bit better than the bare minimum, right? People hate to be sold something, but they love to buy. And so the problem is people that are bad at sales feel like every time I'm getting money from you in exchange for goods, I'm selling you something. And that's not the case at all. What's happening is I'm offering you 3 different levels of value and giving you an option to pick which value you want, right? And we document everything, right? So if I were an insurance agent, here's your basic state minimums, X. So if you're comparing me apples to other companies, they're going to be giving you state minimums. Here's your comparable thing. But I'm going to go ahead and go with you and learn a little bit more about how you're using the truck, what's in the truck. Do you have tools in the truck? Do you have box? Do you have attachments, upgrades, camper shells, whatever the case may be? Do you want all that covered too? Because that's not covered under this bare minimum, state minimum stuff.
Yeah.
So here's your bare minimum, base option that you can compare amongst State Farm and Farmers and Allstate and whatever else, right? However, if you want your camper shell and all your tools and everything else covered, here's a good middle ground plan. If you want to make sure that you're covered in case you get creamed on the highway by somebody that doesn't have insurance and you want to make sure that all your medical bills and everything are covered, here's your Cadillac plan. Take your choice, right?
Yeah.
That's not selling. That's literally providing options and letting the customer buy on their terms.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
And then what that does 2 things. One is it raises a question in the customer's mind of like, why didn't the other insurance agents give me these options? But then for 2, it lets the customer determine, is it worth it or is it not? And then at that point, they can, if they choose the base plan and then they get creamed by a truck on the highway that doesn't have the coverages and everything else.
That's on them.
Now that's on them.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Of course.
And if you're smart, you're going to document that you gave them the upper options and all that stuff. But still, like, that's how we do business, and it works really, really well. Right.
Yeah.
And that's part of why we have such great Google reviews, is because we give customers options with no pressure to buy. But ultimately, it comes down to that customer taking responsibility and choosing what option is best for them. Right. We're never put in a position where we're a sleazy sales guy trying to sell them something they don't need.
Yeah.
We're literally offering options based off of what we've learned about them. And that's it.
Yeah.
So
listen, I don't want to change subjects. It's been 50
Yeah,
minutes
I know,
and
I
we
know.
got through one
Yeah,
topic. So
that's-
do you want to just move
Yeah,
on,
we'll
or do you
move
wanna,
on to the next
do you
one.
wanna
So-
beat this horse literally till his legs fall off?
ultimately, you're responsible for everything that happens in your life, whether you like it or not. Even if you get in an accident on the highway, you're partially responsible for that accident because you chose to put yourself on that highway at that given time. You could have left earlier. You could have left later.
See, I thought we were going to end this topic.
Well, I'm just saying, you need to take personal responsibility all the way to that level, because
If you
if you don't, then you're constantly looking for excuses on why it's somebody else's fault. So I'm not now. Let's say
if you cross your eyes, if you dot your I's and cross your T's to that extreme, and everything else in your life you do the same way, you will be successful.
exactly.
You are taking personal responsibility to the extreme at that point.
Yes.
So everything else is covered.
Right.
That's what you're saying at this point.
Yeah.
Move on.
Now, if I'm driving down the highway and a car crosses the center line and hits me head on, and it's totally 100% their fault, literally my only responsibility in that matter is I chose to put myself on the highway at that given time, right?
Yeah.
Now, could I avoid anything other than choosing to not drive down the highway at that given time? No. It's still ultimately going to be deemed their fault and all that stuff, but I take personal responsibility all the way to that extreme. And if you do it that way, you're going to be successful. Topic 2, go where you're valued. So there's 2 pretty popular stories that float around social media. Dave drew a picture of a middle finger and gave it to me.
Okay.
He's giving it to you because you're like, we're going to finish the subject, and then he brings up the
I
thing,
know.
Yeah,
the
I know.
controversial
He gets me fired
statement.
up, and then he just fucking moves
We're
on.
going to change up. He's
So
like,
later when the show's over and I punch him in the face, and he's be like, "What the fuck?"
we're going to change topics. Also, last thing, Dave,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. Okay, next topic.
Isn't it great?
I love Austin. That's
All right.
good, dude.
Thanks.
So there's 2 popular posts floating around on social media surrounding go where you're valued, and both of them are freaking spot on.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And
I'm just dying.
people need to actually pause and think about these for a second. So the first one is, it's a picture of a violinist. The violinist, his name is Joshua Bell. And
Let me see. You pulled it up on your phone? Okay. No,
Not right now. I got a screenshot of the context here.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Maybe later.
he's a violinist. He went and played in the New York subways for 45 minutes, and a handful of people stopped, and a couple clapped, and a couple of people even gave him some tips and a hat. He raised $30
I think that guy's famous.
in 45 minutes. No one knew this, but the violinist was Joshua Bell. He's one of the best musicians in the world.
so
in
am I,
that
and I'm not making any money.
In that subway, Joshua played one of the most intricate pieces ever written with a violin, and that violin was worth $3.5 million. Okay? 2 days before he played in the subway, Joshua Bell sold out the Boston Theater, and the seats averaged $100 a seat. This experiment proved that the extraordinary in an ordinary environment will not shine and is often overlooked and undervalued. There are brilliantly talented people everywhere, including you. Maybe you aren't receiving the recognition and reward you deserve, but once you arm yourself with the value and the confidence and remove yourself from the environment that isn't serving you, you will then begin to thrive and grow. Your gut is telling you something. Listen to it. It's telling you that where you are right now is not enough. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Okay? That's the post. And they've got security camera footage of him playing in the subways and all of that stuff. And then they got a photo of him playing in the Boston Theater and all of that, right? And ultimately, the basis of it is go where you're valued, right? If you're a badass plumber that does badass shit, don't be working for slumlords, because slumlords aren't going to pay. Like, literally, I got a message today from a real estate agent group that's looking for a really good plumber that wants to add to their toolbox so that they can refer to their customers. I ain't even calling them back. Not even calling them back. Right?
You notice his tone changes every time. I say it every fucking time.
When real estate agent
says real estate agent, his tone just completely changes.
I totally agree with this, because that's like the barometer of like if I do take on site work, that's like the barometer of someone's like, yeah, I just need someone to throw this couple of things together, and I don't need this, and I'm just like,
you're just so angry.
But if someone's like, hey, I want something to look good, I want it to be
you're so angry,
thought and creative.
You're so angry about it.
I go where I'm valued, not where I'm tolerated.
Yeah.
Right? I go where I'm celebrated, right? So
the problem.
So
I don't want to get into a big thing here about musicians, but
there's another popular post, and I don't have a screenshot of this one.
I love how that translates to trades-based businesses.
Yes,
because literally guys will get trapped, and I shouldn't say trapped, but they become loyal to a place. Trent, last night.
Yeah.
That guy that said, hey, I'm not coming to work.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that guy is...
the guy's making $60,000 a year, and he's been making this $60,000 a year for 20 years.
And he could be making $120 working for another guy.
Yep.
And is scared to go.
Yep.
So, as far as that goes, yes, it's a 100% pure analogy.
Yep.
As far as musicians go... it's luck and happenstance. It is and it isn't, right? No, I know musicians that literally, guitar players that are better than Eddie Van Halen. Yeah. That literally are, but they just haven't had the break. They've literally sent their tapes to everyone. They've done everything they can do. They've lived in Hollywood for a year and a half out of their car, playing shows, and it's just like the luck and everything didn't come together. Yep. So that part is bullshit. But as far as like an actual working member of society, yes, 100%, that is the truth. Yeah. And guys literally, especially when you and I were coming up, like guys that would work for a rough-in plumbing company, a new construction plumbing company, and they'd stay somewhere because they were making $20 an hour. And literally guys would be coming up like, hey, dude, I'll give you 30. I'll give you 32. And No, I'm loyal. I'm loyal. Dude, what? Yeah. What is the matter with you?
Loyal to who? Loyalty starts at yourself.
You're literally running 3 crews and then doing a couple houses a week, and you're making $25 an hour, and you should be making $100 a year. And this is in 2005. Yep. I mean, like, that's $200K now. Right. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Stop!
On the back end...
Go where you're valued.
On the back end, too, I can recognize this as you have the person that just says, okay, thanks for sending that, and the other person goes, oh, wow, I really liked how you did X, X, and X. Like, someone who takes it as, like... So that's my barometer, too. Like, if someone's like, oh, thanks for making that, I'm not going to work for them because they don't really value as someone who's going to be like, oh, I enjoyed how you used your creativity to do this because, I was kind of stumped or whatever, like... there's something specific about it.
Yeah, and they're robbing it. And I don't want to, like, jump around too much. I want to move on. But, like, the violin player guy, like, the problem with that is that guy is in the 0.01% of violinists on the planet.
True.
So, that's a bad analogy.
No, it's good from the fact that he's proving that depending on where you go, it's gonna change how much your value is.
Let me finish. God damn it, interrupter. I'm saying it moves well and plays well to trades and other things. For him specifically, it does not trade well because he's literally in the 0.01%. A violinist that could go to the subway and play 99.09% or 99.99% of the things that he can play is going to make the same money at that place. Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the analogy and I like how it translates to real world statistics, but like that guy, like, not to mention, the only people that can watch him or are watching him are also only 0.06% of the population.
Well, so the key part of the story is it's a violinist, right? It's violinists aren't worldly known by mass media, right?
Unless you're in Branson.
I mean,
Yeah.
they have big followings, but it's not like Kanye, right?
Fuck
Kanye's got to
Kanye.
cover his face no
I
matter
don't
where he
under-
goes in the world.
I don't understand Kanye either.
I don't get
He's
it. But
awful, but everyone knows who he is.
Right, but-
How did he do it?
what I'm saying is it's different, so that's why it plays well with a violinist,
Yes,
right?
it does.
However, if you're a tradesperson,
But my job is to fuck you up on the show.
somebody hit me up literally today, and they said, "What do you think about Angie's Leads?" And I said, "Angie's Leads
I
and
just took a dump.
like all the whole like Yelp, Angie's Leads, Angie's List, all of those things, they're only in existence because great plumbers suck at getting work."
Yeah,
And
100%.
so those businesses are in existence because there are great plumbers out there who suck at getting work. So instead of paying money to Angie's Leads, focus on getting better at getting work. And then you don't need Angie's Leads.
And
And you can do what I do. When Angie's Leads calls me, I literally tell them,
do you
that-
send him a finger emoji?
no. Like this morning, I instructed our dispatcher. Our dispatcher said Angie's Leads is called twice a day, every day for the last week. And I said, you need to tell them that we've already told you no, and any further attempts to contact us will be considered harassment and will be treated accordingly.
Do you know what I wonder if this would work. What if you, when they call, say, okay, from now on, every lead I run for you, you pay me $100.
No. They
You're
don't.
making money on leads.
They don't. I mean, it's all people with scripts. There's
I know.
salespeople giving scripts and all that
I
shit, right?
know. God
But-
damn it, Mitch. You're taking my thunder.
But what I'm saying,
He's doing the stereotypical thing. When you ask a question, you get a whole extra.
Yeah, he's okay.
No.
He's fired. Have you
It's
noticed
great.
how fired up he's been
I've
the
been
last like
fiery
6
lately.
weeks?
Yeah.
You know what I think it might be? The testosterone you're taking.
good.
TRT.
No, it's my. It's the fact that I'm done playing small. That's what it is. The
TRT.
We're not gonna, that's funny. We're not going to get into that, but next week, we should probably start doing 2 podcasts a week. That's
Maybe.
probably what we should fucking be doing.
so no, Angie's Leads, like we'll tell them that, and they will stop calling us for 3 or 4 months, and then they'll start again, and we have to tell them that again, right? All right, so you've newly started your company and you're trying to pinch pennies. However, you don't realize the biggest thing that's hurting you right now is not gathering all of your information into one spot and making it super efficient for you to use. So the answer is Field Pulse. It gets you off of paper tickets. It gets you off of all of that crazy office work at the end of the day and reconciling all that stuff. And it lets you organize everything with ease. It puts it all into the computer. It actually puts it all into the cloud. So it's not even putting it on your computer. And it lets you organize your customers. It lets you organize all of your service calls. Heck, it'll even route you to your service call. And the best part is, even after all of that, you'll probably realize about a 100% growth in your business just in the first year of using Field Pulse. So if you'd like to check out Field Pulse and see what great looks like, click on the link in the description of this show. But literally, Angie's Leads plays on the fact that most plumbers struggle to get work. It's because they're brilliant at plumbing, but they suck at learning how to get work, right? Well, if you're really good at plumbing, stop learning plumbing for a couple of weeks and focus your time and attention on how to get work.
What do we talk about on the Void in the beginning? And what do we talk about in Tradewinds? Oh,
I mean, we
man.
talk about a lot.
The number one thing that will help you with sales leads is word of mouth sales.
Yeah.
And being a personality and talking to people on your calls.
Right.
Like that's, if you need, look, I'm not turning this into a shameless plug, but if you need help just doing that, sign up for Tradewinds for 1 month.
Yeah.
Sign up. We will help you unsign up and move on with your life.
It's not the great businesses, but the great storytellers that bring home the bacon.
That's right.
That's ultimately what it is, right? So you could be the best plumber, best tile guy, best HVAC guy, best electrician in the world, but if you're not very good at telling stories and you're not very good at communicating with customers, you're going to struggle to get work. So if you can be colorful with your words, and if you can be animated with your expressions in your face, and you can carry on a conversation with customers, and you do good work, You're going to have more work than you can shake a stick at.
Let me ask you a question. This is going to be a little off topic, but not really. So the guys, I'm thinking of 4 or 5 guys that have signed up for Tradewinds in the last 6 months that literally on their first call, like you could tell, like their first one-on-one Zoom calls, you could tell that they were extremely nervous. Their personalities were put aside because they were nervous.
Yep.
Right? And you could see the same look in their eye that their customers see.
Yep.
Because they go in there and they're scared half to death.
Yeah.
Right?
They're I'm not bashing them. They're cowards in that moment, right? We've all been there. We've all been cowards.
Oh
right?
yeah, with like dude,
you're afraid to do things.
I will remember my first sales call forever. Like I was so sweaty, like I didn't know what to do. I was scared out of my fucking mind.
Yeah.
But let me finish. How many of those, and this is a legitimate question, I don't even know if you're going to have an answer. So, you know, we see them guys, a lot of them once a month, and you can literally see, like, from the first month to the next month to the next month, like, they loosen up and they talk to us.
They get confidence.
They get confidence. Do you think that is translating to sales?
Absolutely.
So
100%. That's part of our promise with Tradewinds. Like, we promise them a 10x return on their investment, and that's part of why, is because they gain the confidence to go where they're valued.
And I was trying to trick you a little bit because I look at their numbers and, you know, we ask them, hey, you know, what's this? What's going on? And their numbers are growing. And I think a lot of like what Tradewinds is now is literally building confidence in sales.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, okay, this is what you do. You go in and you say these things and you get a sale. No, you go in and you become personable and you become their friend.
Yeah.
And you build a relationship with them in the first 60 seconds that you're talking to them.
Yep.
Like that's what it's about, right?
Dude, we have a guy in Tradewinds that
I thought maybe I was the only one that noticed it.
No. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it. But we have a guy.
You know, we said that, like, I mean, this is like, I'm going to expose myself a little bit. Like, we talked about, you know, we're going to give them these tools and these tools and this and that and that. And I never even realized that the main thing we're giving them is almost like a personality shift of confidence and you've got to be this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I never even thought for one fucking second that would be like something that I would be teaching someone.
Yeah. Dude, we've got a guy in Tradewinds that
it's fucking crazy.
He's listened to the podcast for a while. He came to the event. He's joined Tradewinds.
You talking about Joe?
Ironically, I'm not going to say who it is.
I mean, just tell me.
Ironically,
you give me a first name so I know.
He had his first $100,000 month.
Oh, okay.
And it's yeah, that all happened. Like, I'm not saying Tradewinds is to blame. I'm saying,
but I'm not saying Tradewinds gets a part. I am. I'm saying they get a part.
He did the work, right? So I'm not going to steal his thunder. He did the work. However, between the podcast and the event and Tradewinds, he gained the courage to go where he's valued and understand his worth and take responsibility and take ownership of his business.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, that's a pretty badass success story for Tradewinds that literally within your first month of exposure to the event and Tradewinds and you've listened to the podcast for a while, you have your first $100,000 month. Like, that's awesome, right? And then on top of that, he's coming back to us and he's saying, how do I repeat it? What do I do to make sure I take care of my guys? What do I do to make sure I'm doing this the right way? He's not coming to us and saying, you know, what do I spend this money on? How much does a Ferrari cost? Or like,
God damn it!
Right? He's going about it the right way. He's wanting to repeat the process. He's examining things. He's investing in himself. Right? That's the power of all that.
You know what I will say about Tradewinds is I didn't think that I would have this feeling, but like, so a lot of the guys are under 30, and I'm extremely envious.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you know what? Like, if I could go back to when I was 28 and be where some of you guys are now, holy shit,
dude!
Like I feel like I missed out on You son of a bitch. You didn't even stop it.
That's his
I feel like
He
I
let it
missed
go.
out. I
He let
missed
go.
out on like 10 years, not 10, but like 5 years of growth or experience. And it was all my fault.
Do you
like
remember?
It's all my personal responsibility. Like I should have been doing those things, and I see them doing it now, and I'm like, damn it, these motherfuckers. These guys are making so much money, and they're doing all these great things, and I could have been doing the same thing, and I missed the freaking boat, and it took me 4 times as long to get there than it's taken them to get there.
Do you remember the conversation we had at the bar the night that I asked you to be the co-host of The Void?
Let me think. So we actually talked on the phone,
We talked on the phone for a while.
and then we went to Martini Shack, and then we sat not in the Martini Shack, but the bar down, and there was like 10 extremely old people in there, and then
Yeah.
a band of 4 guys that were probably in their 80s
That was a
playing
bad
live
band.
music,
Yeah.
and they were the worst live band I've ever seen. And there were only me and Mitch sitting at the bar. But no, I don't. I mean, I remember what we talked about, but I don't know what you're specifically going to
So-
say.
Ultimately, I was a victim to all of the employees. So it used to be, and it still is, employers will tell you it's much more difficult to start your business than it actually is, right?
Yes.
And that's because they don't want you to start your own business, because if you do, then you no longer help them make money, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so once I started my business and we saw the success that we saw early on, I realized there's brilliant tradesmen all over the nation and all over the world that need the information that I now have to help them, inspire them, and give them the courage and the confidence to start their own business.
Yeah. They have the skill set.
They have the skills. They've been diminished by many, many people, right? Because they haven't gone where they're valued. They're gone
Right.
where they're tolerated, right?
Right. Yeah, 100%, dude.
And so
Yeah.
I told you, like, essentially, so for those that don't know, I wrote a book for how to start your own home service business. And then I benched it for a long time.
Long time,
never
like
even
a
sent it
year.
to publishing, never anything. Yeah, I benched it
was
for
like
a year.
Yeah.
And then I realized that people that probably need this information at this point in their personal development journey, they're probably not book readers.
They're fucking working.
They're working, right? They're
And when they get home,
tradesmen.
they're wore the fuck out.
Right. They're probably not reading books.
Yeah.
And so we decided to take the context of the book and turn it into a podcast. And that's how we would get the information out, because all tradesmen have a smartphone and all tradesmen have earbuds, and they can listen to the podcast while they're at work. Right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the conversation that you and I had centered around, we have copious amounts of information that you and I both wish we would have had in our early 20s. And we could have
man.
started our business 10 years sooner
Yeah.
with the right information. The problem is nobody was willing to give it. And that's why we started The Void, was we were willing to give the information to the badass tradesmen out there that didn't know how to get work, didn't know how to understand processes, didn't know how to understand, hiring and firing and all of that stuff. And so that's where The Void was spawned. But ultimately, everything that you just talked about was exactly why we started all this, was because we
Yeah.
want the guys in their mid-20s. The guys in their mid-20s have more energy than you and I do. They should be starting businesses. You shouldn't be starting a business when you're 40. Although, don't think that's why. Like,
You can.
If
but
you're listening
man,
to this at
you're
40
gonna
and
get
don't,
wore out, bro.
well, I mean, I'm 41. I started our business at 38, right? And so I'm not saying don't if you're 38. I'm just saying the tools and the information are out there if you know how to find them, to where you can start the business at 25 and 28, and you can see the same level of success I'm seeing 10 years sooner in life.
Yes.
So
And that's what I mean by when I say that I'm envious.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I'd had those. I want to say a couple things here. First off, I will be 42 next month, September 23rd. So if all you fuckers want to send me something, that would be great. So send me something.
David likes glitter bombs.
I like.
If you could send him a glitter bomb, that would be
Yes.
amazing.
What's the Smedley address? What's the Void address?
I was going to give him your wife's name or your daughter's name.
If you want to send me anything, I'll take it. I will wear shirts. I will wear hats.
What's your shirt size? Was it 0.308? Is that what your shirt size was?
If you're ordering from where we got the shirts, it's a large because that medium don't fit me no more. If it's a regular, it's a medium. But I want to, like what you were saying before, like the conversation we had. We had met one time. Like this was the light for me about. Not about what we're doing now, but the lack of knowledge. And I'll remember this forever. We met at Captain's like 3 or 4 months before that.
Right.
And you were thinking about going out on your own. And you're thinking about doing this. And I'm getting ready to get started.
Now, that would have been
and you said
6 or 8 months.
Was it 6
maybe,
months?
Maybe 10 months, yeah.
And literally you had gone to the city of, I think it was Blue Springs, and said, hey, what's it take to get a business license? And I looked right at you and I said, did you proof of insurance and masters?
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, and it was only $38.
Yeah.
It was like at that moment you were like I could see it in your face because it was the same realization that I had, that none of these cities are vetting you. None of them care.
No,
they
just want
their money.
Yeah.
And it was literally like an epiphany moment for me when I did it, and then I saw you do the same thing of, we literally knew nothing.
Nope.
Literally knew the most basic, dumb, stupid shit had never been taught to us. We'd been taught how to be plumbers.
Right.
And you'd been taught how to be an HVAC guy. And you'd been taught how to be an electrician. And you've been taught how to run a shovel. And you've been taught how to get a CDL. And you've been taught how to run machinery. And all of these things, but they didn't teach you the real basics of, if you have insurance and you're mechanical, you need only those 2 things and an address.
And you get a business license.
And you're on your fucking own.
Yeah.
And like you said that to me and I was like, dude, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Like the surprise on your face, even when you were telling me, I was like, dude, no, they just want your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And you are literally free and on your own. You know, when you, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, your boss taught you those things.
I don't know if they did.
I think they taught a lot. So 50% more than now?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
At least. Like greed wasn't as big of a thing then?
Yeah, maybe.
And you could literally, everyone knew. Like, so if 2 guys in the business learned, those 2 guys told someone else. Everyone knew.
Yeah.
And for those that had drive and wanted to do it, it was easy for them to do.
Yep.
But like you were saying, you know, business owners now are trying to keep you down, trying to keep you in your quote unquote place.
Yep.
Right?
Well, they're trying to keep you in a place where you keep making money for the business. Like,
of course. And as a business owner, like that's your job, but not to the point where you hold down other people, other men, other women.
Right.
Right?
Like, I've got a guy in our company right now that is going to be starting his own company pretty soon.
Who is it?
I'm not going to say who it is.
Well, damn it.
Like we're transparent about it. I mean, it only stands to reason. No. It only stands to reason.
I know all their names.
Yes.
Okay.
So it only stands to reason. Like, I have a podcast about how to start your own trades-based business.
Do they listen to the podcast?
Some of them do. Yeah.
First off, I hope Spencer does. I love Spencer. He's a nice fucking guy. That's not him, but he's a cool dude, man.
They all listen to the excerpts that I post, the short clips and stuff like that. But
we should buy him a beer one night.
Like, it only stands to reason, right? Like, if I've got guys that have the potential to start their own company and they know I do this podcast, like, I'm not even butthurt about it, right? Be transparent about it. Let me help you. Let me teach you the rights and the wrongs. Like, I care for my guys that much. I don't want to see them go and start their own company and then get fucked over. I don't want to see them get rolled.
Yeah.
So, okay, so...
Well,
the guy that hit me up today about Angie's Leads was literally my guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and I told him flat out.
That's funny.
Focus on learning how to get work. Focus on getting Google reviews. Focus on getting word of mouth referrals. And that way you can tell Angie's Leads, fuck you. Right? You don't need to pay them because you can get your own leads.
That's right.
And if you do those things, Google reviews, word of mouth referrals, you don't need, in providing great service, you don't need Angie's leads.
Yeah.
Right?
And
the guys that need Angie's leads are the guys that suck at great service, or the guys that suck at word of mouth referrals, and the guys that suck at Google reviews. And if you suck at those three things, you're not going to get much work, and you're going to have to pay somebody for it.
You can literally build a business to $1 million a year with 2 or 3 employees off word of mouth reviews if you do those 3 great things.
We did exactly that. We did
I know. That's why I brought it up, Mitch.
We did.
God damn it.
We did.
He's so excited.
I know he is. I fired him up. Like
We did $1.2 million a year without spending a dime on advertising.
Yeah, and then spent $50,000 on no leads.
Well,
That's why Mitch doesn't run the Trade Winds budget. I just, but what you were saying about like guys that, we both have kind of had this passion, I think, of like kind of taking guys like under your, not necessarily under your wing, but like teaching the next generation, right?
Right.
Which I think something like part of that is lost. Like I helped Austin get his LLC.
Yep.
For his stuff.
Yep.
I hope someday he fucking goes out and does something great and leaves us, and then we got to hire somebody else.
Like, that's a known thing.
Yeah, like it's not.
Literally, he stands here. Austin sits in this room and listens to every podcast we do. It won't surprise me a bit if Austin comes to me one day and says, "Hey, I'm going to start my own gig."
Yeah.
And you know what my answer is going to be? I'm proud of you.
If you want any help, let us know.
Yeah, go back and listen to these episodes.
Yeah, no. He's heard all the fucking episodes. Well, he doesn't want to listen to the episodes, but that's what we've lost. Like that's what I feel like a part of like what everyone's generation is you have to take 10 or 12 or 15 guys and say, hey, look, when you get out there, this is how it's got to be.
Right.
And you've got to do these things to get there, or guess what? We're all screwed.
Dude.
Like, I'm not doing plumbing or heating and cooling when I'm 80. I'm going to need some of you young bucks right now that are out there to fucking help me. Okay? So, like, get out there.
That's the difference between a manager and a leader. The difference between a manager and a leader is a manager develops people to benefit the manager. A leader develops people to replace them one day.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to develop you so that you can take my job one day. A manager fears their job being taken over. A leader hopes somebody will one day take over their job.
Yeah, because they're going to be wore the fuck out. And they're going to need somebody.
They're going to be moving up.
Yeah.
Right?
Up or out.
Right.
Up or out. God bless you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what we were talking about with Austin, like, dude, someday he's gonna make a movie, or he's gonna do something, or he's gonna go work for some big corporation, or whatever. But that's like your job, and that's my job, and that's these guys that are 35 or 30 or 35 in another 5 years. That's gonna be their jobs.
Right.
Their jobs are gonna be to train the next ones.
Yep.
Okay, and the really great thing is, like. So your guy that's going to go out on his own, right? He's going to go out on his own, and then he's going to call you for assistance, and then you're going to call him for assistance someday. Like, hey, we got a huge job. Would you guys want part of it?
Right.
Like it's not necessarily when someone leaves that they're competition, but that they're still part of your initial family, quote unquote, unit in business. And they can help you, and you can help them, and you guys can still grow together. This whole, I'm going to put up a wall, and this is going to be my business, and no one's in and no one's out, that fucking shit's over.
Yeah.
That is not how you become great.
No.
Like, you cannot, on your way to the top, you have to develop relationships. And I don't mean top like business president or owner. I mean top as in top of your city.
Yeah.
You have got to build relationships on the way to the top so that they support you and you support them.
Yeah.
Because you will not get there without that. You cannot do it without the support system. It's fucking impossible.
Yeah. I don't know, like, if I have a plumber, if there's a plumber here in the KC area that doesn't like me, I don't know about it. Like,
I'm not a plumber, but yeah, I get it.
And I'm not saying that to brag or anything else. What I'm saying is, like, I'm here to better the industry all the way around, right? And so, like, one of my plumbers left a couple of months ago. He left and he's working at a different company 10 miles away, right? And, you know, after all the dust settles and everything else, I'm messaging the owner of that company and I'm telling him, hey, you got a really good guy there. Take care of him, because I did.
Yeah.
And the guy's going, I know you did. He said you did. Like, you know, and don't worry, I will, right? Like, shit like that happens. And people, there's a cliche saying that says competition happens at the bottom and collaboration happens at the top. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not collaborating necessarily with the other plumbers in town, but I'm cheering on their success just as much as they're cheering on mine. So now, I will say,
are we gonna get into the hater talk?
No, the ones that have been bought out by private equity, fuck those guys.
So, yeah, I'd like to see them burn to the ground.
Well, here recently, literally just yesterday.
You know what's funny? When that happens in towns like ours, like we don't have a huge, like we're a spread out metropolitan, right?
Yeah.
Like when that happens here, like there's a mass exodus, and those people that leave take work. And then those guys go to good companies, and then those companies all grow, and they usually swallow that company.
Yeah,
that was bought.
Well, so
not always, but most of the time.
There's a big private equity firm in town that bought out one of the largest companies in town, and then they bought out one of the medium-sized companies in town, and so they're literally competing against each other for a while, right? Well, guess what just happened, and I just found out about it yesterday. Both of those companies now merged, and they're the same company. Duh. Right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can't be competing against ourselves in the same market. And
Who
so,
is it?
Bob Hamilton Plumbing has now merged with Roger the Plumber, and they're calling themselves like Hamilton Home Services or something like that.
Well, so a company I knew that they had bought Bob Hamilton. I didn't know that someone.
ARS is a big private equity firm. They bought Bob Hamilton. And then they bought Roger the Plumber.
Gotcha.
And so now
Roger the Plumber. I mean, like when I see the trucks go by, I'm like, what a joke.
Well, just wait, because there's another medium-sized company in town that's connected into that network, and they're probably going to suck in a third before too long.
Man,
within the next 18 months, probably.
I wish it wasn't illegal to like say, hey, don't use these people, because I would like literally put out a commercial that says, hey, this is what's happened, and these are that. Like,
ultimately, customers are going to use who they're going to use, right? Like Yeah,
but you could protect people. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's their responsibility to protect themselves. Is really what it is.
They don't know all of the ins and outs.
They don't. They think that
these people are just like, oh, Joe Blow lives down the street and owns AB. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean, it's all part of it, but that's all part of the game, right? And ultimately, that's why we created The Void, was because there's a great opportunity for guys to start your own company right now, because private equity firms are buying up all these big companies and making them even bigger. And the bigger the big companies get, the more room there is for the small 1 to 10 man operations to come through and do really, really, really well.
What do we talk about all the time? People want quality and they want value.
Right.
And that's where a 10-man shop comes in.
Right.
Like, that's where it happens.
Exactly. So, we need to be wrapping things up here. We're almost an hour and a half in.
Yeah, from the guy who wanted 3 topics, we had 2, and
now we're
on 126.
I said these 2 were probably going to take a while.
That's okay.
So,
did you?
Yeah.
I don't listen to half the shit you
Yeah, he
say.
said if.
Yeah.
Oh,
if we have time for the third topic.
Was there an if
I got to make for sure I equally save you guys.
Yeah.
Damn it, Austin. I was just... You know what? You be quiet.
So
pull Dave out of the water, pull Mitch out of the water.
We kind of jumped all over the place on this episode, but how it it wasn't
bad. It was
I
good
do want to say
there.
the 2 main topics here of taking responsibility and go where you're valued. Those are probably 2 of the most important things you can do in business and in your personal life all the way around.
I was going to say in life, those are 2 general topics that will excel you.
Right. So we didn't even get to talk about the other popular social media story. We'll talk about that in the future. But
write it down, Mitch.
Yeah, ultimately,
write it down.
Take responsibility for everything you do and develop the attitude that you are in some way responsible for every single event that happens to you, no matter what. And even if it seems like it's 100% somebody else's fault, find how you were partially responsible for that. And then go where you're valued. Ultimately, if you do badass plumbing and charge decent rates, don't spend time with landlords. Don't spend time with real estate people. Don't spend time with the people that aren't going to go or that aren't going to value you at what you are worth. I'm not even going to call that real estate agent back because I guarantee you they're going to do this whole, we can give you tons of work and all of this stuff. And I've played the real estate agent game before, and I'm just not doing it again, especially not signing up for something like that, right? I know my value, and it ain't there. So we have our specific niche, and we just drive that home, and I'm just not going to deviate from that. So those two things, take responsibility, go where you're valued. You do that for the next week and you focus on that for the next week. We'll see you next week, and you're going to be in a whole different position if you focus on those two things. So David's doing boots and cats over here. So
boots and cats. You mean Puss in Boots?
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats.
That's good stuff, dude.
Until next week, guys, we will see you later.
Yes.